We're live.
Six o'clock?
Yes, it is.
Okay. This meeting will be held in accordance with the governor's new executive order, N29-20, issued on March 17th, 2020, regarding an open meeting requirements of the Ralph M. Brown Act, California Government Code Section 54950 et sec, and the Federal Americans with Disability Act in an effort to help avoid the spread of COVID-19, to maximize transparency and provide public access to City Council meetings. The City Council local LRA board is now in session. Flag salute, everyone place their hands over their heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Council Authority Member District 2, Rachel Hernandez.
Here.
Council Authority Member District 3, Cal Campbell.
Here.
Council Authority Member District 4, Darlene Barbara Martinez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Chair Luis Uribe.
Here.
Mayor Chair Richard D. O'Brien.
Here. There will be no agenda changes. Any council authority member or staff who has direct conflict of interest on any scheduled agenda item to be considered is to declare their conflict at this time.
Councilmember Campbell, I think that on item 10.2 that I have a conflict and should sit out on it.
All right. Any other conflicts? Seeing none, we'll move forward at this time. Members of the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council LRA Board. Individual comments will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Under state law, matters presented during public comment period cannot be discussed or acted upon. For the public, please refer to the last page of the agenda for the public comment procedures via Zoom. Annabelle, do we have any public comment?
Mayor, there is no one wishing to speak at this moment, and we did not receive any written comments for this item.
Thank you. Presentations. Tonight is the proclamation for Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2021. Is there anyone from the organization? Let me get it. Is there anyone from the Family Support Network in the waiting room?
There is a hand up.
All right. After I'm done reading the proclamation, I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak, and I would like you to state your name and just talk about your event. The City of Riverbank Proclamation, Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2021. Whereas Family Support Network has been serving the Riverbank community since 1993, and whereas our mission is to improve the well-being of families and the community by providing increased access to resources and services that support mental health, wellness, prevention, and early intervention, as well as health education classes, parent support groups, and school readiness programs in English and in Spanish. And whereas our vision is to sustain ongoing advocacy for the bringing critical services to the underserved populations in our communities through local accessible activities, bilingual staff, and a trusted safe place for individuals and families to ask for and receive information and support that is culturally appropriate. Whereas the green ribbon is an international symbol for mental health awareness, and whereas the focus of this effort is to promote the importance of good mental health, well-being, and stigma reduction within the communities, individuals, and families. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the City Council of the City of Riverbank hereby proclaims May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Signed this day by me, May 11th, 2021. All right, I want to first off thank the Family Support Network. You've been doing an awesome job for a very long time, for 27 years. And if you're there, would you like to say a couple of words?
I'm going to allow them to speak.
Thank you, Annabelle.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I want to start by stating that I am not from Family Support Network. I represent Stanislaus County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services. My name is Dr. Janet Nunez Pineda, and I am the manager of Stanislaus County Prevention and Early Intervention and Community Relations within behavioral health. We are the organization that is contracting Oak Valley Family Support to do the mental health prevention work, both in the Oakdale community and the Riverbank community. So today I am here both representing the Stanislaus County Behavioral Health and also in support of our contracting partner who is doing a stellar job, being that this is the first year that they are funded to work in the Riverbank community. So I really wanted to personally, on behalf of our director, Mr. Ruben Imperial, thank all of you council members, as well as Sean, who I did reach out to earlier this week on the county's behalf, to really just express our gratitude in the way that the city has opened the doors to our partners and your receptiveness to welcome what we call a highly stigmatized conversation in the areas of wanting to achieve discrimination reduction around mental health, and helping our underserved communities better be receptive and aware on how to access behavioral health services should they need it. So today I'm basically here just to thank you for your proclamation, for your leadership, and hoping to express that the collaboration continues so that our city can continue to advance in these areas. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you on behalf of the council and the city itself for providing the services, and also taking time out of your busy schedule, doctor, to talk with us tonight. And if there's anything else that Mr. Imperial needs, or you or any of your services, please let us know, and we're always willing to go the extra mile for you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Yeah,
I have a question. Councilmember Barbara Martinez, I have a question. Is there a phone number for our community members who would like to get in touch with Oak Valley Support?
There is. I'm not sure if their manager is on the call. I believe she was also going to be in attendance. I'm happy to provide that number in a second. And I'm also happy to provide the phone number that we are promoting to the community, where they can call behavioral health if they are seeking support on how to access services. That phone number is 209-558-4600, 558-4600. And that is what we call our warm and crisis support line for the public.
And with your permission, I'd like to have a link for the city of Riverbank, the link directly to you, so someone can click on that and get the information.
We would love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, well, again, thank you very much. We're going to proceed, and if you need, again, anything from us, talk to Sean. We'll make sure that we give him our support.
Thanks again.
All right, we're gonna move on to the consent calendar, item 8.1, waive readings, item 8.2, approval of April 29th, 2021, City Council and Local Redevelopment Authority Board minutes. Do we have anyone wishing to pull or make a motion?
Vice Mayor Uribe here. I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
And I will second Councilmember Barbara Martinez.
We have a motion to approve the consent calendar by the Vice Mayor and a second by Councilmember Barbara Martinez. Roll call, please.
Council Authority members Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chair Uribe,
Yes.
Mayor Chair O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Item 9, public hearings, consistent of item 9.1. First reading by title only and introduction of a proposed ordinance approving a First Amendment to the development agreement by and between the City of Riverbank and Pacific Pacafi Cooperative, Inc., a California cooperative corporation doing business as flavors.
Thank you very, excuse me. Thank you very much, Mayor, and good evening, Council. I'm going to handle this item this evening as Donna is on a vacation, and I am going to share my screen here in just a moment. Let me switch this. Okay, you should all be able to see that. So, as the mayor mentioned, this is an amendment to the development agreement with Flavors. Flavors, as council is well aware, was our first dispensary to be approved in Riverbank, and I think the first or second in the county to be legally approved. And we have had a very good relationship with the operators there for many years. From my opinion, and I think most of the staff's opinion, all the staff's opinion, they have operated a very clean and efficient business and followed all of the guidelines within their previous development agreement. For those that don't know, the business is located here at 2213 Patterson Road next to Cruisers. Here is a quick site plan of the property, which was previously a automotive lube shop. Here is a look at the elevations of the building, just in case you haven't been down that way in some time. Their existing, the primary change to this development agreement is related to their public benefit payment structure. They are not requesting any additional licensure or expansion of their current business or anything like that. This is simply an extension of term and a renegotiation of their public benefit costs. This was the previous tiered system that we had set up for them. This was very early on in the recreational cannabis after it had been legalized, and this represented it was on the lower end, but a pretty standard public benefit agreement based on our research at the time. A few months ago, as we were getting closer to the end date of the original development agreement, we had been engaged in discussions with Flavors for a number of months on how we were going to approach extension. And they requested that council consider reducing their overall high-end exposure on public benefit. And their justification for that was that not only are they paying a significant amount of funds to the public benefit fund, currently they're certainly the business that contributes the most to that fund, but also that the regulatory landscape with regard to cannabis in California has changed a lot since they were originally approved, and that relates, as we discussed a few months ago, to excise tax and a number of other taxes that occur from the beginning of the product to when it actually reaches a consumer's hands. And so they've asked for an amendment to the public benefit terms. And we floated this and workshopped this with council to provide direction back then before we moved through the full public hearing process, just to be sure that this is something council could support. And at that time, the council unanimously agreed that it was reasonable. We have decided to eliminate the percentage structure and go towards a flat payment of $30,000 per month. This will eliminate their exposure on the higher end when they generate a lot of revenue in a certain month, and it also protect the city on the lower end so that we have just a very specific amount of public benefit we know we'll be receiving from flavors during the ongoing 3-year agreement that is part of this extension. In case, with regard to the public benefit fund, because I know it's a question that comes up, we still feel that even with this new agreement, it will provide us enough revenue to continue to pay for the many services that and community enhancements that we have been paying for out of public benefit. And we have, as council knows, 2 more cannabis related businesses that are in the process of building and getting their doors open, and so they will also supplement to that fund. So we feel very positive about the position that the public benefit fund is in at this time. In order to approve this development agreement, you will need to make the following findings: that is consistent with the general plan. It will not be detrimental to health, safety, and the general welfare of the city. It will not affect orderly development or property values. It's consistent with Government Code 65864 and 65869.5, and it contains legal description of the property, all of which are and have been found in the past with regard to flavors. This is sort of a policy statement with regard to the general plan that we should have a community that is safe and healthy for all of our residents. As I mentioned earlier, from my perspective, certainly from the previous chief's perspective, and I don't want to speak for our current chief, but I suspect he would agree, in general, Flavors has operated their business very responsibly. We have had very, very few issues with regard to any crime in the area. In fact, quite a bit less than we have in other businesses that aren't even cannabis related. The environmental determination is that it is exempt 15301, which is existing facilities, so CEQA does not apply in this particular case. And our recommendation from staff is that you approve the first reading of the proposed ordinance and consider adoption at your next meeting. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, are there any questions of Sean? All right, this is a public hearing. I open for public comment. Annabelle, do we have anyone wishing to speak?
There is no one wishing to speak, and we did not receive any written comments for this item.
Okay, thank you. Seeing no public comment or written comment, I close the public hearing, bring it back to the council for consideration to accepting the first reading for possible and for consideration at the next meeting.
Vice Mayor Uribe here. I'll make a motion to approve item 9.1.
Councilmember Campbell, I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the reading and to accept the reading, and by the Vice Mayor, and a second by Councilmember Campbell. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Uribe,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
New business, item 10.1. The project consists of a final map to subdivide approximately 4.76 acre parcel into two lots, 1.65 acre parcel 1 and 2.88 acres parcel 2. A resolution approving final map 04-02021 for Albert W. DeShaho at 2173 Morrell Road, APN 074-006-013. Sean, I think that's you.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, our Associate Planner, Gabriel Salazar, is going to take that up this evening.
Welcome, Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Just bear with me a moment. I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone see it now? Okay.
Yes.
This project is for a final map for the Dedesho property located at the northwest corner of Oakdale Road and Morrell Road. The project totals 4.7 acres, 4.78 acres. Lot 1 is 1.76 acres. Lot 2 is 3.0 acres approximately. This project is consistent with the general plan and the Crossroads West specific plan. The Planning Commission adopted resolution number 2021-002 to approve the parcel map at our meeting of February 16th, 2021. And here's the assessor's map of the property. As you can see, it's located on the northwest corner there. It's a uniquely shaped lot. Here's an aerial of the subject site. On parcel 1 is where the applicant and property owner lives. He will continue living on the property. Other structures are on the property are existing residential home, mobile home, and some accessory structures. Parcel 2 is undeveloped but contains some pasture and some horse stalls. And the applicant anticipates is working to sell parcel 2 for a future developer for a subdivision potentially. Here's a tentative map that was approved by the Planning Commission. And here is the final map, which is very much consistent with the tentative map, minus the structures as you can see. Regarding the California Environmental Quality Act, the project will not have any significant impact on the environment. It is categorically exempt under section 15315, which involves 4 or less parcels. And the site is located within the Crossroads West specific plan. It was analyzed with its program level environmental impact report as multifamily housing. As I mentioned, it is consistent with the Crossroads West specific plan, which allows for high density residential, but then also allows for single family on this property. Staff's recommendation is that the City Council approve the final map by resolution based on the required findings that the map is in conformity with the provisions of subdivision law and city code. And staff is here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Gabriel, I do have a question, and it's not related basically to the item 10.1. How long have you been on staff, and why haven't I met you?
It's going to be 2 years in mid-June.
Oh my God, am I neglectful? Oh, sorry about that.
A little over a year we've been with the pandemic, so maybe that's a partial reason. So
don't try digging me out of this hole. Okay, is there any questions from the council? Seeing none, hearing none, I'm going to open it to for public comment. Annabelle, do we have any comment on item 10.1?
Mayor, there is no one wishing to speak on this item, and we did not receive any written comments for this item.
Thank you, Annabelle. I bring this back to the council for consideration.
Councilmember Campbell, I'd like to make a motion to accept item 9.1 as so stated.
10.1.
Councilmember Hernandez, I second.
That is 10.1. We already did 9.1.
Sorry about that.
That's okay, 10.1, okay. All right, we have a motion to approve 10.1 by Councilmember Campbell and a second by Councilmember Hernandez. Roll call, please.
Council members Barbara Martinez,
Yes.
Campbell,
Cal,
Yes.
thank you. Hernandez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Uribe,
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
yes,
Motion passes 5-0.
thank you. Thank you, Gabriel. Item 10.2, a resolution authorizing the appropriation of an amount not to exceed $25,000 from the Public Benefit Fund for the cost to repair exterior dry rot and repaint the historical Riverbank Museum building at 3237 Santa Fe Street. Before I do that, Councilmember Campbell, are you still going to recuse yourself?
Yes, I am. So what do I do? Just
No, you just stay there. We're just gonna put you in a waiting room.
Yes. I'm going to put you in a waiting room. Just a moment here.
Oh, he's gone, so he must be in the waiting room.
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. Let's go with the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm going to give a little bit of history just for folks that maybe don't know, because I didn't know, so I find it interesting. Anyway, in 1921, with funding from the Carnegie Foundation and the local community, the building that sits right behind my office that I'm sitting in here, that now houses our museum, was built at 3237 Santa Fe Street. At the time, it was built and operated as a Carnegie Library, one of a number that were built here in the Valley. In 1994, the building became the Riverbank Museum, and in 96, the building was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. And to date, it is still the only building within Riverbank that exists on that register. Additionally, the Riverbank Museum is actually one of the few original Carnegie Libraries buildings that still exists locally. Many of them have either fallen to a state of disrepair. I believe Turlock's burned years ago, or at least the original building that did. And so this is one of the few original buildings that has really been untouched, that still exists in its form when it was built 100 years ago. Since 1994, the property has been maintained by the city of Riverbank and has operated a museum through a partnership with the Riverbank Historical Society. In June, the building will celebrate its 100-year anniversary, and the Historical Society planned to erect a little free library out front of the museum, which will be a exact replica of the structure, the original structure. And so they're hoping to hold a limited event to recognize that 100-year anniversary. And as I was speaking with the Historical Society recently, we had planned, Sue had planned to include, we had gotten some quotes on what we thought it was going to cost to repaint the building, because if you've been by it recently, it's in need of being repainted. It's been many, many years. And we were going to put that into the fiscal year 21-22 budget. The problem with that is that, as you know, the budget doesn't go into effect until July 1, and that will be after their 100-year anniversary. And so it was requested that council consider allocating those funds for this current year, so that we can get that work done in time for their 100-year anniversary. We've got some initial estimates. It's going to be more expensive than a normal painting project, because if you walk around the building, you'll see that there is a lot of dry rot, and the painting contractor that we had come out and take a look at it advised that we really need to get that taken care of. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense to paint wood that's dry rotted that's going to fall off anyway. So we're estimating an amount not to exceed 25,000. I doubt that it's going to cost that much, but we want to make sure we have enough funding to get it done and get it done correctly. In addition, we want to make sure we get it done in a way that is representative of the original structure, so that we don't do anything to put its place on the historic registry at jeopardy. So if council's interested in funding this project in advance of the 21-22 fiscal year budget, Maricela and I have discussed it. We've identified really two funds that it would qualify under. You could, it meets the policy that you have set with regard to public benefit projects, special one-time projects. That policy very specifically states one-time strategic capital expenditures in support of public safety and public services or recreation, i.e. providing enhanced services, options, and activities. And so obviously this is an important resource to our community. Fortunately, it hasn't been able to be used all that much this last year, but we hope to see that change this year. So you could take that funding out of public benefit. The current fund balance in the public benefit fund is a very healthy 1.7 million, or alternatively, if you would like to fund it out of the general fund reserve, the impact would be a negative reduction of $25,000, but your current general fund reserve balance is $3.6 million, so fairly small amount. So we're just looking for a little direction on whether you would be agreeable to funding that and what fund you'd like to fund it out of. And if it's public benefit, you would just need to approve the proposed resolution appropriating that amount. And I'll happy to answer any questions. And I think we have Historical Society folks on the line too, probably.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments from the council?
Vice Mayor Uribe here. I think the only concern I have is addressing the dry rot now before it gets worse. So I think the timing, I think we should jump on this. As far as which fund to come out of, I'm okay with either one. I would probably prefer the public benefit fund. That's my opinion, though.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez, I think we should use the funds that are in the public benefit fund. And I was just wondering, we're looking at the outside, the exterior of the building, the dry rot and to repaint. What about the interior? Have we taken a look at that and see that we may need to do some repair for that also? I mean, I've been inside the Historic Museum and I think it needs some work on the inside too. So just my opinion, my thoughts.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez, that's a good point. I have too been on the inside and think it needs a lot of work. Right now, what we're considering was before us, but I think in the future, as Sue does a survey of all of the public buildings that we have, that the Historical Society, I believe they have been surveyed, but that survey report should be made available, and then we can start looking at what to do. And I do not need Ms. Roberson to come on up and lecture us on, we need a new roof. And she was eloquent on that. So I'm afraid of her. So again, if we do have a survey report or will have a survey report, that should be something that we need to plan. Something old like that building inmate should be preserved for as long as possible. And I think it'll just only benefit the entire city as we move forward. And I think, in my opinion, that we should also use the public benefit fund. Is there any other council comments before I open it up to public comment? Seeing none, I open it for public comment on item 10.2. Annabelle, do we have any public comment?
Mayor, we do have a hand up. And let me, hello, can you hear us, Rich?
Mayor, members of the council, can you hear me now?
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, Rich Holmer. I am the treasurer of the Riverbank Historical Society. I believe Kristen Platts is also with me. Kristen, are you? Hello, Kristen.
Yes, she did put her hand up.
Okay. So Kristen's here too. What we plan on doing, this is the 100th anniversary of the Carnegie Library, the museum. It served as a library till 1975. We want to put up a exact replica of the library in the front there, a little library, sort of just show a 360-degree where it's gone from a library back to a library in some ways. The major effort we need to take right now is outside to do the repair work, which has to meet standards. There's some of the boards. We're going to take off the planters. They weren't on there originally. They weren't put up there till 1999, so those will be removed. The wood rot and replacement of boards in that lower area, and this, I think, we'll bring it up to the and the painting. We'll bring it up to the standard this needs to be right now. I think Mayor O'Brien was correct, and also Councilmember Martinez, that there are some things that do need to be done inside. We have done some things over the past 5 or 7 years where there was some mold and other things that we took care of inside. I believe with the city's help on that, and we really appreciate you putting this forward tonight so we can move forward with our plans for a celebration and at least open the library up and have people be able to come back on a special day and then move forward from there. Is there any questions? Well, I also did say if it exceeds $25,000, the museum will pick any additional amount out of our capital improvement funds.
All right, that's something that we can discuss at a different time. We're just here on tonight's item, not to exceed 25,000 for what it was. And right now, we have the public benefit fund leading the charge on who's going to pay for it. If there are any furthers, it is a city building, and we'd like to protect it as much as possible. So, Kristen, are you on? Oh, excuse me. Any council members have a question for Mr. Holman? No? Okay. Kristen, are you on to make a statement?
Just a moment. Kristen, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Kristen Platts. I'm the president of the Riverbank Historical Society. I think that Sean gave a nice presentation about what this is all about, and Rich has said what we need to say, and I just appreciate you guys taking this into consideration today.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any questions of her? All right. Any additional public comment, Annabelle?
There is no one else wishing to speak, and we did not receive any written comments for this item.
All right, so I bring it back to the council for consideration.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez, I'd like to make a motion that we approve item 10.2.
Yeah, Darlene, could you also identify what fund you want to use it from?
From the public benefit fund.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Uribe here. I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve and a second by Councilmember Barbara Martinez and the Vice Mayor for $25,000, not to exceed $25,000, using the public benefit fund. Excuse me. Roll call, please.
Council members: Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Uribe.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate that.
You're welcome. We'll work it out together. Can we bring our wayward child back in?
Yes, just a moment here.
I know I shouldn't be saying that. I'm on speaker.
Okay. He has joined us.
All right, welcome back, Al. We won't tell you what we did. Going on to item 10.3, a resolution of concurrence and support for the approval of the 2021-2022 Annual Action Plan AAP.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Our Assistant City Manager, Maricela, will take you through our proposal for the 21-22 Annual Action Plan.
So good evening, Mayor and City Council members. This action that we are discussing today is going to be an annual plan that you will review. It is to discuss the Cdbg funding that we receive as part of the Urban County Consortium that we belong to and that we joined as of the beginning of this fiscal year. Annually, you'll review the projects just to make sure that you continue to concur with the projects that were selected over the 5-year period, and to allow the public to provide us with any feedback. So I'm going to share my screen really quick just to go over my presentation. Okay, so this is the 2021-2022 Cdbg Annual Action Plan that we are reviewing. The annual review of projects to be funded with Cdbg funds must be done on an annual basis as required by Cdbg and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD. It's an opportunity for the public to comment on the projects that are being funded, and the project funds must be spent in areas where there is greater than a 50% low to median income. So that's why you'll notice that the majority of the projects are in very specific areas of town where we know that the median income is lower. Here's a quick map of the areas where we are authorized to use this funding. The 4 blocks that are highlighted in gray, one of which is off of 8th Street in Kentucky, Patterson Road and Claus. And then another area over by our corporation yard off of Riverside Drive and some of the streets there, as well as Pioneer Park is included in that project area. So for 2020-2021, I wanted to give you an update on where we are on these projects. We have 2 projects that are both at Castleberg Park. One is to rehabilitate the park trail, and the second is to include some additional ADA improvements. We are currently working with the county on the environmental process that we must go through in order to begin construction on these projects. Because we are moving dirt, we are required to go through this environmental process with them. Once that environmental is certified, then we can proceed to the design phase of the project, and then from there we can go on to construction. At this point in time, we have $135,000 of our Cdbg funds for this year allocated towards Castleberg Park. There is a funding shortfall from that, so we are looking at some alternative funding sources to be able to complete the project as a whole. In addition to the park trail and the ADA improvements, we're also looking to do some upgrades to the basketball courts. In addition, we have ADA funding that will go towards Pioneer Park for $12,600. So for 2021-22, or the upcoming fiscal year, we'll actually see a lapse where we're going to be reserving that year's funding in order to combine it with the funds for 22-23. The project that we would like to fund is a water line installation, which is on Riverside Drive, that would go from the corporation yard to 4th Street. This originally had been intended to be funded through our water rates, through that variable charge that the city had implemented back in 2019. But unfortunately, due to the fact that we were not charging the consumption rate for about 3 years, we were not able to collect funds for those projects. We wanted to make sure that this project was able to proceed in a timely basis so that the cost estimates remain low. And so we decided to go ahead and include it within the CDBG projects that are to be funded. So we would look at constructing this project in 22-23 so that we can combine the funds from the upcoming fiscal year and that subsequent fiscal year in order to complete the project. We will, however, begin the environmental process next year so that it's already in place and we can start all of the preliminary design so that July 1st, 22, we can go out to bid and start the project construction. And so the recommendation for tonight is to allow for public comment on any of these projects. And then the City Council would consider adopting a resolution of concurrence on the proposed projects. And I'm available for any questions you may have.
Marcella, thank you very much. That was very thorough report, especially with using the maps and the use of the funds. Thank you. You do quality work. Is there any council member wishing to question or make comments on item 10.3? Right. Before I open it up for public comment, something of this sort that we're going to do again next year or every year, should we have some of a more formal public hearing? Because you're looking for public comment, you truly are looking for a public hearing, whether it's a one-time public hearing or.
So
I know we don't have to.
Yes, the Urban County doesn't require one, but we can certainly structure it that way next year if council prefers.
I've got that way. I think it's you get the public willing to testify more at a public hearing, although not during COVID. But I would like to start making sure that we do have the public input. I know they trust us all implicitly, but you know, I still would like to hear it at our meetings and not on the side streets. Okay, anyway, Annabelle, do we have any public comment on 10.3?
Let me see. There is no one wishing to speak, and we did not receive any written comments on this item.
Okay, thank you very much. I bring it back to the council for consideration, which is to approve the fiscal year 2021-2022 annual action plan AAP.
Vice Mayor Uribe here. Mayor, before I make a motion, maybe it's something we could add to your State of the City address, just an idea. That one's always fairly well attended. Just an option there. And I'll make a motion to approve item 10.3.
Councilmember Barbara Martinez, I second.
We have a motion to approve item 10.3 by Vice Mayor Uribe and second by Councilmember Barbara Martinez. Roll call, please.
Council members Barbara Martinez.
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Hernandez.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Uribe.
Yes.
Mayor O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Again, thank you. And I'm going to mention that report in my comments. So be prepared, Maricela. Continuing on to item 11.1, staff reports.
Thank you, Mayor. Still very, very busy as we have discussed as I speak to you all each week. A lot of building going on in Riverbank, a lot of public works projects. We started some work out at the wastewater treatment plant this week. We have public utility work occurring. You will notice that the street extension of the new West Gate has started to be constructed as you drive down past that new subdivision on Oakdale Road. I sent you all an email earlier, or I guess it was mid part of last week, basically stating that it looks like we're going to have roughly 8 to 10 roadway projects active this summer. So to the residents that are on the line, our apologies. There's going to be some detours, but it will lead to a number of really great traffic and pedestrian enhancements for the community. So we're excited about that. And we'll be doing a little workshop just to get everybody up to speed on that before the summer gets here. The primary item I just wanted to mention tonight is we found out today that after working with the county for quite some time, we have finally got our vaccine clinic scheduled. It will be next Tuesday, May 18th from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock. And they're going to send us the information. It's going to be the Pfizer vaccine, but my understanding is that because Pfizer was just approved for everybody over the age of 12 or 12 and older, that they may also take those patients as well. So we'll get that verified. But as soon as we get that marketing material from the county, we're going to do a hard push for that. And that is actually the same night as our farmers market. So if you're going down to get your vaccination, go check out the farmers market or vice versa. We're going to have a booth down at the farmers market talking about RadCard and some of our recreation programs and other things. And so stop by and say hello if you are in the mood. And I hope that council has enjoyed the last two meetings, which have been lighter than normal for us, because next meeting will likely be a little bit more lengthy, just because not only are we prepared to present the wastewater master plan, but we also will, Maricela and I have planned on doing a workshop and direction session with the council to start the work on a policy for how we choose to allocate the 4.6 roughly $1 million that we will be receiving from this upcoming stimulus, or this current stimulus. And she and I actually both sat in on a Treasury webinar yesterday to get an idea about what some of the preliminary guidelines are that were released. So we'll be reporting that to you, and then the council can debate and discuss how we should set up our spending plan for those funds when they get here. And be happy to answer any questions. And everybody have a nice evening.
Thank you, Sean. Is there any other staff comments?
None this evening.
So you just what? I'm going to talk for you.
Well, was there some other staff comment you were seeking in particular?
I guess I know people that say no. I'm the only one speaking. Any comments for the city manager? All right. Thank you, Sean. Moving on to the council. Councilmember Hernandez.
Hi. So there is still a lot of questions around RadCard, and actually today Riverbank Food Center successfully signed up. I know Sean and Luis, Vice Mayor Luis, went to go speak to them for the third or fourth time, just explaining the situation and the program. And usually it takes about that much, a few conversations to really get the business on board. We have La Chiquita that signed up last week, and so and there's more questions and more people reaching out directly and asking. So I'm excited that Vice Mayor and Sean set up the booth over at the farmers market to get more information. I definitely want to feel for it to be sustainable, that the chamber will be looped in to kind of take over that those communications. Because always top of mind, I want to keep Love Riverbank kind of going stronger and form a more solid committee around that. Outside of that, I had a meeting with Deputy Zong, our Community Resources Officer in the Sheriff's Department, and representatives from the API community to keep conversations going around how our community can prevent and also address any hate crimes that might happen, because it definitely shouldn't be, front of mind when something tragic happens. So hopefully there's going to be more around that. They've been really preliminary. right now. But I think that's it for me right now.
Thank you. Councilmember Campbell.
Yeah, we talked about mental health tonight, and this month is for mental health. And I think that we all need to watch our citizens and watch our society and tell our neighbors to watch things. There are a lot of other things that are going to affect the mental health. One of them is going to be the drought that's already been stated by the governor. And this is a time of the year when illegal fireworks start to come out. And we have to keep our eyes open for those, because these winds and the dryness of the areas around us can just catch fire very, very quickly. So I encourage everyone, keep an eye on your neighbors and keep an eye on this other citizens. If you see something that's questionable, report it to somebody before somebody does something that we'll all be sorry for. Because I think there's a lot of pressure on a lot of people in society right now, and I don't think some of them are handling it well. It seems like every time I turn the TV on, I'm hearing about somebody else getting shot somewhere or beat up. So everybody do the best they can to make things good in Riverbank.
Thank you. Councilmember Barbara Martinez.
I attended the legislative update from our California Cities League, and it's just gives us recent critical legislation about our city and our state. And please be aware that our county is in a drought, so conserving water should be on the forefront of everyone as we try to take care of our beautiful lawns. And then the Riverbank youth softball teams are back playing again, so I wish them a fun, safe, and successful season. And Sue, thank you for putting, the youth sports back in place again. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Darlene, did they have a first pitch out?
No, they did not. No parade, no first pitch out at all. And they have already had their first game. And then pitchers are going to be on Saturday with games too.
So I didn't make a fool of myself?
You and me both.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Uribe.
Thank you, Mayor. But for the record, I'd love to see you throw a ball, Mayor.
No, you don't.
So just a quick update. Legislative action days are May 12th and the 13th of the next 2 days. Topics of discussion will be advocating for COVID-19 response and recovery, housing and land use, homelessness, broadband and other critical infrastructure. And if time allows, I know there's going to be certain speakers taking the lead on those. I'll be voicing support for AB 332, which seeks to help dispose of treated wood waste with mandatory requirements coming from SB 1383. AB 332 is going to help local businesses like Thunderbolt Wood Treating. This bill is going to create a clear process for disposal of waste, which currently there's only one option at the moment. I want to thank in advance Sergeant Steve Hatzigorgio and Chief Ridenauer for the helicopter ride we'll be taking this Thursday. It's going to be a very cool perspective of the city. I can't wait. And finally, I want to thank the county outreach team for coming to Riverbank today and partnering with our community resource deputy for that continued outreach to our homeless, which is super critical. And thank you, Sean, for mentioning the farmers market. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if anybody else needs to have a helicopter ride, talk to the chief. It is a good perspective of your city that you are governing. You take a look at some of the empty spaces, and from the ground, it does not look as massive as it does from the air. So please, as they are doing a fly around this area, schedule a visit. It is, my first helicopter ride was launched. I thought it was 500 feet, probably only about 50 feet when the engines died and we collapsed. And I hated helicopter rides, but the one that I took with the sheriff's department was phenomenal, and you will truly enjoy it. I have a couple things. First off, as we move forward in this 100 year of Riverbank, not only for the Carnegie Hall library, but for the city itself, I would like in earnest to have 1 or 2 council members available, at least one, to meet with some of our citizens and our event coordinator, and getting together, getting a program so we can start scheduling that. It is, to me, it is most important to accentuate the city itself, and I'm truly in love with this city, and also the traditions that go along with some of the things that this city has done. I think it'll be very important for next year as we take a broad leap in housing, broad leaps in trying to resolve our homeless issues in our area, and also addressing our affordable housing. We have great things on the horizon, and I want everyone to know where we came from and where we are going. And if you really just want to concentrate on one little area, concentrate on what you wish, whether it is for affordable housing or the job market that we're going to create. I'm excited because of the job housing ratio that we're going to blow every other city away. And they're already envious of what we're doing and what we have. And I'll tell you what we have is nothing compared to what we will have in the near future. And I'm concerned, although we haven't talked there, Vice Mayor, on the housing land use items that the state is going to be imposing upon us. I'm concerned that it may take some of our local control away. I hope that with the League of Cities, that you are emphasizing that we retain our land use issues, because if not, then they're going to start dictating things that they homogenize throughout the state with emphasis of the coastal and southern communities. And we're not like them at all. Not that we're not like them personally, but they have all the other amenities which we wish we had, but we don't have this structure to do so. Maricela, if you're still there, I want to thank you for that report. That was very well done. And now you've set yourself a new standard. And Sean, you better believe that I'm going to now capture that standard and other things that we need to report upon, such as the Measure L, CMAQ, and Caltrans road repairs. Those maps, those graphics told me as all of us as an executive what we need to know, but it also provided it to the public. And so I think that is one that we need to start looking at on an annual basis. And it could go for a lot of the other areas that we are working on, including our strategic plan, which we need to update. I would like to have that update, sometime this calendar year, as we sit down and take a look. We have a lot of important decisions to at least discuss where we're going with it and where we need to concentrate funding and staff effort. Sean and Maricela work great as a team, and we've given them a lot of tasks. And if we, as a strategic planning, can concentrate their efforts to come up with what we need in the future, I think it would serve them better, but it also serve us better as a council.
Mayor?
Yes?
If I may,
No, you can't comment on my comments.
Okay.
No, you can. Go ahead.
Okay. Just because I should have mentioned that during mine. I've reached out to 2 facilitators for the strategic plan. I was kind of tentatively planning on sometime in June, so that especially if we make it past the 15th and things we reopen, we can do some type of in-person. I think for that kind of a thing, it's better to do it, if it's safe to do so in person, just because it takes quite a bit of time and there's a lot of collaboration in small groups that are necessary. And one other quick thing, just for the purposes of the minutes, because we want to make sure that it's clear, and in case anybody else doesn't know, when we talk about RAD card, we're talking about Relief Across Downtown. That's what the acronym stands for, and it's a program where you can get matching funds to spend at local downtown businesses. So please go to our website or to the County RAD website, and you can get all that information immediately.
Since you were talking about that, the farmers market is going to be held on what day of the week?
It'll be Tuesdays.
During our city council meetings?
Twice a month.
Can we have our city council meetings right in the middle of the farmers market?
Yep.
I mean, we could social distance 36 feet apart.
Yeah, well, it'd be one way to get a lot of people to come to your meetings.
You better believe it. So anytime that we look forward to a meeting where we're going to try to congregate, we also need to make sure that we have the ability to accommodate those who feel uncomfortable about joining in a tight group. But if we have a large enough forum where we could have, let's say it's the community center, you could have me at one end that you guys don't like, and everybody else at the other end. That's fine. But or someplace, and bring them in electronically is another way. We have to really take a look at this hybrid. A lot of people are believing that that COVID strains are going to be out there forever, just like the flu strains, and that it will affect everyone totally different. So we have to be considerate on how we do, but I do need a strategic planning session, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's together in one group, or it's a hybrid. Because I know we have a lot of important things that we have to determine, and not just try to piecemeal it together without having a thorough discussion. Okay, I've lost there it is. So you're done commenting on my comments. We're going to go into closed session. The public will have a limit of 3 minutes to comment on closed session items as set forth on the agenda prior to the City Council LRA adjourning to closed session. Closed session consists of one item, 12.1, conference with legal counsel existing litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 alpha, name of case Francisco de Gonzalez et al. Versus City of Riverbank et al. City Council Superior Case Court number 614551. Is there any public comments on this?
There is no one wishing to speak, and we did not receive any written comments for this item.
Thank you. Before I go into closed session, this will be the report of the closed session will be in our minutes in the next meeting. Anyone who's interested in obtaining the report may contact the city clerk at cityclerk@riverbank.org or contact the city offices. At this time, we're going to adjourn to closed session. Thank you very much for listening, attending, whatever, and call me if you have any comments.